All right, another day, and this is in Canberra, but another day in the Victorian bungled hotel quarantine scandals have found their way into the federal parliament. Today, extraordinary the hearing. We saw that there, Victorian's COVID hotel inquiry, the email exchange between the Victorian Department of Health and Human Services and the Federal Department of Home Affairs. Well, all of those emails have now been tabled. They appear if you go to the public website and you can read them all. And they suggest, well, more than suggest, Professor Sutton was aware that private security was being used to guard incoming travellers way back in March. Now, prima facie, or on the face of it, Michael Pizzulo, who's the Secretary for the Department of Home Affairs, he agrees.
I'm asking prima facie. Is it open to you conclude that Professor Sutton was aware that private security was being used in the hotel quarantine program?
Certainly on the face of the text that I have before me, in response to an inquiry raised by officers of my department in the context of them working in the National Coordination Mechanism. It's open to anyone who reads this correspondence, now that, as I understand, it's been tendered in the inquiry, that any reader of that email from Mr Hogan would have had their attention, no doubt, drawn to the following sentence, quote, "Private security is being contracted to provide security at the hotels with escalation arrangements to VicPol as needed."
Well, Sarah, you were on the hunt. Sarah Henderson joins me now from Victoria. You're a Victorian senator, but you're coming to me from Canberra. You were on the hunt today on this issue, Sarah Henderson, and I was intrigued to see not just that revelation there, that there is a veracity to those emails, we'd assume so, the way that they've been now tabled by the inquiry, the code inquiry, but also, and I think this is worse, the fact that federal authorities haven't been contacted by the code inquiry to provide evidence at the other end of these email changes.
Well, Peter, good evening, and absolutely, I was also incredibly surprised, and as has been confirmed by Michael Pizzulo, the Secretary of the Department of Home Affairs, that Home Affairs has not been asked to produce not one document. And that is appalling, and that really says to me, and I think to anyone watching the proceedings today in Senate estimates, that the Board of Inquiry in Victoria is not serious about getting to the bottom of what happened here. I mean, we have seen now damning emails validated by the Secretary of the Department, and of course it's a very bad day for Professor Sutton and also for the Department of Health and Human Services. And let me add, Peter, the DHHS and its lawyers have said to the inquiry, we didn't think these emails were material. Well, I think that is absolutely shocking, and it's probably important to remind the lawyers for the DHHS that it is an offence to mislead any board of inquiry. So very, very big answers to be given in relation to their conduct as well.
Yeah, similar concerns had been voiced to me around the legal circles of Melbourne on that very point you just made there. I think we might have a grab here of Mike Pizzulo from the hearing today.
Has your department been asked to produce any documents to the hotel quarantine inquiry?
To the best of my knowledge, and I'm more than certain that I would know, we've not been approached by the inquiry that's been established under the auspices of Victorian law.
And Sarah, you know, that makes it cut and dry there as far as I'm concerned because of the reach of Home Affairs into a lot of the things that happened in Victoria. We know obviously that the federal government offered the police the ADF time and time again, and that was rejected. You spoke to the Australian Federal Police Commissioner Reece Kershaw. People will remember his name because on that day, the infamous 6 minutes, he was bookending one part of that conversation with then former Victorian Police Commissioner Graham Ashton down here. He was also a bit surprised, and we know that from the evidence, taken aback that Victoria was going in alone and wasn't going to use police and wasn't going to use the ADF as everyone else did.
Well, he was absolutely, and he also spoke about a forum of all state police commissioners, along with, of course, the AFP Police Commissioner, Reece Kershaw. They attended this forum, and it was, as he said today in evidence, it was made very clear that there was a decision made that police would be used in relation to hotel security, along with the ADF in a supporting role. And so hence why I think it was quite surprising to the AFP Police Commissioner when he learned that private security not only was going to be used but also had been contracted. So we're waiting for further details. There are questions on notice as to when this Police Commissioners Forum took place, but clearly there was a strong expectation that police would be used, and there was a dramatic change in decision between the time of the forum and then, of course, the 27th of March.
And this is a really important point, Sarah Henderson, you picked up today, because we know from his evidence when he was told by the Victorian Police Chief that it won't be VicPol, it'll be private security. Reece Kershaw, who you grilled in estimates today, said, well, that's new. And the response back was, well, it's a special deal for Victoria. You asked him, why did you think that was new? And he says, because we had this meeting of police commissioners, national police commissioners and state counterparts, and that was the understanding then that it would be ADF and VicPol. I'm really interested to know when that meeting was, because if it was before a National Cabinet, that is intriguing, because it will tell you that somewhere after the National Cabinet decision to do exactly what the police commissioners thought they were doing, there was a change in the protocol and Victoria went it alone. That date, Sarah Henderson, is critical.
Well, absolutely, and we have that question on notice. The Commissioner could not provide details as to when that Police Commissioners Forum occurred, the exact time and date. He said they used to meet ordinarily about once a week. But of course, we are eagerly awaiting that further information. But look, some really damning revelations today in estimates, Peter, and it really does go to even more questions that remain unanswered in terms of the absolute incompetence with the running of the hotel quarantine program.
Well, I know you'll stay across at Sarah Henderson, Senator for Victoria. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, great to talk to you, Peter.